let's just take a moment and to say, these are sandwich cookies. The Pennsylvania Dutch invented these. Sorry, Debbie. You're an adult now. I'm not gonna call you little Debbie, all right? Welcome back to the cooking show. I'm Faraday. We're here in my apartment. We're making oatmeal cream pies. They are soft and squishy and sweet. They're literally like nostalgia in a pie for me, except it's not a pie. It's a sandwich, okay? We're gonna use a combination of vegetable shortening and butter in this recipe, okay? Look at that. Slap it on in there. The reason why we're using a combination of the two is that, you know, butter is going to, butter is just great. And then the shortening is gonna make the cakes kind of hold their shape a little bit better. In the same token, we're going to use a combination of granulated sugar and dark brown sugar, not light brown sugar. The difference between dark brown sugar and light brown sugar is that dark brown sugar has molasses. We're also adding molasses into this. It's gonna give it a darker color. It's gonna give it kind of a richer flavor, and it's gonna make it a little bit more moist. Because if you think about those oatmeal cream pies, they're very moist and soft and kind of just like delicious. So that's the kind of thing we're going for. Let's make one thing clear, all right? Little Debbie had it all wrong. I don't know why she's calling those things pies. They are sandwich cookies. Anytime we're making a cookie, we're gonna cream our butter and our sugar. Actually, before I get started though, I almost forgot. We need to take the oats, hence oatmeal cream pie, and I'm gonna put these through a food processor. Beautiful. We're gonna cream our butter and our sugar. It's gonna change color. It's gonna get lighter and fluffier, the butter and sugar, when you cream them together. And it's gonna just make for a nicer texture of your cookie as well. Let's do it. So you can see it's already like getting lighter in color. Okay, we're gonna add in our vanilla, our molasses. So again, the dark brown sugar already has molasses in it, but we just want to amp up that molasses by adding in some extra molasses. It's going to give it this really nice color that the oatmeal cream pies tend to have. We're going to also add in our eggs. And no, Peter, I can't do it one-handed yet. There we go. I did it. I did it. Look at that. This isn't your average cookie because guess what? Oatmeal cookies are always healthier for you because it's oatmeal. It's like you're eating oatmeal but in a cookie form, so it's good for you. I feel like people, like bakers, actually really don't like hand mixers because most people don't have stand mixers at home. Stand mixers are very expensive and this is like $20 for one of these hand mixers and I think that's so good. Also, it's just like hard, like my stand mixer is all the way up there and it's really hard to get down, and it's sometimes when I'm home alone and I have to get it down, I think I just stand on the countertop and it's so heavy and I have visions of myself falling and cracking my head open with like the thing falling on me and like dying by way of stand mixer. I'm gonna die by my stand mixer one day, so I'm trying to avoid that. I'd rather get hit by a car when I'm riding my bike. We're gonna add now salt, cocoa powder, some ground cinnamon, and some baking soda. So that's gonna go in with a little bit of all-purpose flour, along with our oats. And we're just gonna mix it. The first time I made these, I like used a combination of light and brown sugar, and I didn't have molasses, and I didn't have the cocoa powder, and like they were these like hard little tiny cookie. Like it was horrible. It was like literally one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. This recipe's come a long way. Tell you what. That is good. Now we can roll these guys out. Let's give this a little wipe. I highly recommend getting one of these. You don't have to use it. You can just dollop them on, but it's like a little ice cream scooper. It's just so handy. Anyways, we're gonna scoop these out into about 2 tablespoons size balls. Let's take a moment to talk about Little Debbie herself. Little Debbie was a person, I believe, but what we're doing now is the oatmeal cream pie, which is one of the most popular snacks from Little Debbie. Like they were kind of revolutionary in that they were like, I think it was 49 cents for like the whole sleeve of them back in the day when they were first invented. And they're individually packaged little sandwich cookies. You could throw it in your pocket, in your lunch, whatever. I love these. We've got our oven preheated at 375. I just wet my hands a little bit and I'm gonna smush these down a little bit because Little Debbie sandwich cookies, they're flat, right? So we want these to spread out quite a bit. Smush them down and they're gonna spread. That's why I'm leaving a lot of space in between them as well. All right, these are gonna go in about 10 minutes. They don't need to cook for very long. 375, you just want them like in there, out of there. They're gonna stay soft and supple. While the cookies are in the oven, we're gonna make the filling for our oatmeal cream pies, okay? They call it creme, like C-R-E-M-E, like oatmeal cream pies like that, not C-R-E-A-M, because they don't actually use cream in it, and it's probably like something that the National Dairy Council won't allow them to say. We're gonna use real cream in our recipe because we're fancy like that. So we're going to beat our butter and our marshmallow stuff. I'm gonna call it marshmallow stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about, but our rights and clearances team probably won't let me say it. So I'm gonna say marshmallow stuff. We're gonna use an entire jar of this marshmallow stuff, okay? And we're gonna, oh gosh, look at it. God damn. You see that, Peter? Oh, it's pretty cool. Cool. The reason why we're using marshmallow stuff in this is that it kind of does a nice job of replicating what they do in the cream pies, all right? Whoa. And it doesn't actually taste like marshmallow when we end up using it with all this other stuff. It's more of like a icing. Oh my God, I was like, what smells so good? It's not cookies. I literally was like, someone's baking in the building. It smells delicious. It me. Cookies are out of the oven. I'm gonna let those cool slightly, actually cool completely. But we're gonna make our filling right now. We're gonna carry on with this. I'd say in the recipe to sift your confectioner sugar, but I have my sifter being used for something else in my refrigerator. This is for another video. TBD what that is. It's the chicken sandwich. What a mess. Okay, we got salt and confectioner sugar going on in. More confectioner sugar. Cream and vanilla go into. And nary a clump in there without even sifting it. It's delicious. Okay, so our cookies have cooled. I've got my frosting ready. We're ready to fill these guys, all right? So Little Debbie snacks in general, one of my favorite things. I grew up in a house where my mom's diabetic, and so we didn't really have a ton of like fun snacks. My dad did used to buy these things like Nutter Butters, oatmeal cream pies, stuff like that. We had like a snack drawer and like where my dad would hide it, and I knew where those things were, and I would go and eat them and like just like sneak food all the time. And one time like my dad had a bunch of chocolate bars in there and I lied about eating them, and he basically forced me to eat them as my punishment, which was not really a punishment at all. Like I was not mad about having to eat a bunch of chocolate. Joke's on him because now I still love chocolate and I eat it all the time. Anyways, oatmeal cream pies are one of those things that my dad bought, and it just felt like such a treat. These are just so good. They're so good. I'm very happy right now. It's like sweet, it's soft. It kind of just like melts in your mouth. You've got the texture from the oats in there still. So you feel like it's like a healthy after school snack. It's got all that marshmallow stuff in there. This is the best one I've ever made, I think. Dad, that lesson you taught me about eating all of my chocolate and all my snacks, I have lived to this day to keep doing it. And I'm gonna eat all of these right now too, because if I learned anything from that day when I was 12 years old and I lied to you, it's that I shouldn't lie and I should just be honest and eat everything. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. For the recipe, click the link below. Thanks, Dad. Here's to you, Little Debbie.